What's up, guys? Will Sherlin with Gutter Fighting Secrets. That's the channel you're looking at if you haven't figured it out by now. But I want to briefly go into some grappling procedures for you. What we are going to be doing here in a little bit is we had a guy specifically request some ground fighting for the street scenarios, procedures, techniques. And what I figured is, look, I'm still a white belt. I've been doing BJJ for 2 years. Yeah, I do know a little bit more about the street fighting applications, having studied some military stuff and whatnot. But what I'm going to be doing is actually going to an expert, going to BJJ black belt who trains MMA fighters, and we're going to talk with him about some good stuff for the street. We're going to really get into it with him. But for now, I wanted to give you guys kind of a caveat, kind of a lead into that, and show you a couple of techniques, some things that I've found practical and handy just from my brief and limited career. We're going to be looking at specifically rear naked chokes for the street. We're going to be going over a few ways of doing it. We're going to look at one way to do it standing. We're going to look at another way of doing it standing to bring him down. And then we're going to do a little bit of talking about on the ground as far as when you choke someone, on the ground, a couple of ways of doing that. We're also going to go ahead and kind of go in depth on how to apply the rear naked choke the right way, the wrong way, and things that I've learned over the years that really come in quite handy. So stay tuned. You guys are really going to enjoy this one. It's going to be great. With all that being said, I thank you for subscribing and checking out my YouTube channel. I'm having a lot of fun with this, and it's really been an honor to have all of you guys starting to follow along and kind of check out the art of gutter fighting. So with all that being said, let's go right into it. Right now we're going to be talking about the rear naked choke and throwing it on somebody from behind. It may be necessary at some point. Maybe someone's freaking out on another guy at the bar or a coworker, or worse yet, this guy is some kind of terrorizer or something like that. You need to take him out quickly. A rear naked choke, not only is it kind of intuitive, you'll see generally, if he turns around, what most guys will end up coming and doing when someone's freaking out is they'll come and they'll get him like this from behind, which is a valid technique, and we'll be going over that in another video here. It's called the Century technique or even the Japanese strangle, but it is more of an air choke. What we're going for here is a blood choke, which takes 10 seconds usually max, way less if it's applied properly. Now we're going to be going over more in detail after this how to apply this choke properly, but for now let's see how to set it up very efficiently. So he's freaking out on somebody. I'm able to come up behind. Now it's important for me to remember that right here, this is his 6 o'clock region. Directly behind his 2 ears, he can't see there. So if I'm able to sneak up directly behind him, it's more efficient than trying to come in this way. If he turns over his shoulder and looks, he can see me and he can punch me there. Boom. But if I'm able to sneak up directly from behind him, then he's not able to necessarily see me. I've mentioned this before, but when I was doing a lot of foot surveillance training, they taught us to always stay at the guy's 6 o'clock if you can, to have him avoid him seeing you. And it's the same thing when we're sneaking up on a sentry or somebody that we need to take out quickly. Now, I'm going to go ahead and step off camera for a second to let you guys know that you don't sneak up like this because it's too slow. When I was learning a lot of sentry removal techniques, what it was like is this, and you rush in. You maybe get close enough to get close to him, and as soon as you're close enough, then it's aggressive and rough, and you go in. Now when we do go in, this is a technique I like a lot. So we're going to shoot over his shoulder like a jab, like we're jabbing the air in front of him. We're not doing that for any waste of time. We're not doing that for any hitting or striking method. What we're doing that for is to clear him and get this arm able to wrap around his neck. Then we take the crook of our arm here and we wrap it around his neck. When we take that arm and we apply the rear naked. Now again, we're going to be going over how to do the rear naked more in detail on the ground in a second. Suffice to say for now, we punch that out, we come in, we wrap around, we put it on. We're going to attempt to choke him. He may put his chin down. Maybe he gets aggressive and he starts fighting. Maybe we're not able to take him down. So what helps now exactly, he's going to try to grab my fingers. Now what helps now is if I can take my foot and put it in the crease of his knee there, kick it in, and try to get him on the ground. Now at this point, he's on the ground. If you can see here, I've got my knee pressing into his back. And what I'm going to do is drive that into him. And I'm going to keep pressing on that choke. Now, it may go to the ground. Maybe he gets my leg. Maybe for whatever reason, we start going to the ground. And I'm going to let up just so we don't injure each other. We go. And I'm on my back. I'm going to throw those hooks in. I don't want him going anywhere. Now, it is important at this point to realize that there might be other guys. I'm on my back. He's on top of me. That's not a good situation. So I want to be aggressive and I want to be quick about this. So I throw it on and he'll tap when he feels it. Boom. And that's that. But I do want to get those hooks in so that he's not able to turn around and turn into me and get off of me. So that's what it's going to look like. And we'll do it again. There's other methods here. Sometimes you come here, you come in here, and you are able to like throw your knee into his back and press him back like that. And he goes down to his ass. And we'll actually train it like that. So boom, boom, boom. I throw the knee in, he goes back, and then I come in here. In Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, usually what it's going to more look like is this. And the choke's done here so that you can get back up quickly if you need to. In Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it's going to be more here. We're going to throw those hooks in here. So it's just kind of a discipline to discipline thing. I would say for a street application, it is more kind of important if you're able to boom, 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 stay on one knee. Now realize that if you're on the pavement or something like that, try as best as you can to control him while he's going down. Come on, get back up. I've got him here. I was able to get this effectively because I punched this through aggressively and was able to get him down. Boom. I want to control him as best I can. So while I'm pressing here, I'm pressing. And then if I do need to go to one knee, I can, but I'm controlled in the way that I do it. Because if I'm not, boom, 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 ow, and I really jam up my knee there. Could potentially break it, fracture it on the concrete. So I've got to be controlled in what I'm doing. But, boom, when we're pressing here, we find that crook. We don't have to look at it. We just find the crook, and we press. Then we come here. Now notice my leg here, it's in prime, actually I don't know if you can notice, but this foot here, this leg's in prime picking condition for him. He could pick it. If he picks it up, single leg style, boom, he tosses me over, I'm freaking done. So what you might like to do is come back more here, even come back here, press that knee, kick this foot back, and keep it back like this. You don't want him to start grappling with you. Thanks for that. So that's kind of the rear naked choke from a standing position. There's ways to do it. Those are a couple ways that I found useful. The boom, get him with the knee, that's Fairburn method. The other one, pressing, is also a Fairburn method. It's been used with the military for a long time now. Before it was used with the military, it was a Japanese thing. It was used with the samurai and whatnot, so it's been around for a long time. We will look at the Japanese strangle, which is a little bit different. It's more of an air choke, but that's kind of how it's done. And then next we're going to be looking at how to do it on the ground. I'll give you guys some really good techniques and some good methods and procedures on how to really apply it, make sure it works. The rear naked choke from like a kneeling or grappling position. For you BJJ guys out there, you might just want to like stop right now because I'm sure you know this, but for the guys who don't always train, you might learn something here. So what it's going to look like is if Brendan faces that way. Actually, yes, has a seat on his ass there. What it's going to look like is you'll see this a lot. Just move a little bit more this way. Thanks. So we're going to look at getting the hooks here. And we're going to have kind of a seatbelt position on him, pulling him in here. Now on the streets, this guy could start throwing elbows backwards. You could start headbutting backwards as well. So I want your head real nice and tight into him. Now obviously he's going to start freaking out and throwing stuff. So at that point, we need to trap his wrist. At least we've got one taken care of. We might need to come with two hands, but at least we've got that seatbelt position. We've got him controlled. Now he's going to try to freak out a little bit. I mean, yeah, he can start to hit me and stuff. He's more hitting the top of my head. But at least I've got him semi-controlled. He's going to start trying to press on my legs. I need to be quick about this. So something that I've been learning lately is you've got him here and you've got him nice. Now at the same time as you want to come and try to get this choke, you're gonna toss that wrist and get the choke. Now, when you are getting the choke, it's important to realize, so I've got him in the seatbelt here. He was trying to freak out, so I grabbed his wrist up, more of a ninja hand type grip, thumbless grip. He's starting to really freak out and I'm getting concerned. So I'm gonna get rid of that and I'm gonna put the choke on. Now, I'm gonna let him go here, but before I let him go, just a caveat, I don't ever wanna cross my ankles like this because a guy who's trained will throw a lock on you if you cross your ankles like that. I've even had guys who don't know that ankle lock do it just out of the sheer velocity of grappling. So try to keep those legs apart. Maybe you can throw some grapevine hooks under where you take your toes and kind of put them under his knees. That can even be a little risky, but anyway, throwing it away and we're putting the choke on. Now, he's got his chin down, and if that starts to happen, what we can start to do is take our free hand and just kind of juggle his chin up, and at some point it will go up, and we'll be able to throw that choke on. For now, we're assuming it didn't. We're assuming that we were able to get that. He gave it to us, and we have that choke. Let's take a look at how to do this choke in the right way so that this guy doesn't go ahead and start negating it. All right, so I've got the choke on this guy now. A lot of the times, guys will start to put it here, like with their fingers, but he can grab my fingers and go ahead and start breaking them. Like either breaking my fingers if he's real street, getting my wrist, locking it off, something like that. Lock, whether it's just a lock or it's just a pull down. He gets it, he freaks, he pulls it, he starts working his way out. Thumb, exactly. So the proper technique is a fist. And I want to put this fist directly behind his head. And I want to hide it from him. So even if he tries to go ahead and get me and get that fist off, it's going to be hard. And he's actually putting the choke on even harder. So tap when you feel it. Yeah, exactly. Thanks, man. So these chokes will put him out quick. You've got that fist on the back of his head hidden. By the time he is able to really grapple with it enough to be effective, he more than likely will be out. These chokes, the bigger your biceps are as well, the faster generally he will go out. They call it the line killer. It's meant for bigger guys. Guys with smaller necks, it tends to be a little more difficult. Now, as we were saying before, about he might actually try to block it, right? So maybe we had him in the seatbelt thing, and he just had his chin down, right? So I can't get him now, but what we can do is put your hand down for a second just so we can see, is I can get this hand, kind of work it up. Then I can get this hand and work it up and swim and swim and swim and juggle until finally, boom, and I get it. So that is one way to go ahead and kind of negate the head down type of thing. Obviously, if it was in the streets, maybe you can press his nose back or something like that or jam like that. But juggling that and trying to swim in, and eventually you will get it. But remember that when you go ahead and apply this choke, whether it's standing or on the ground, I want you to think about hiding that hand. And I credit John Helweg, my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coach, for that. He definitely goes street at times, and he's definitely seen it happen where guys get their fingers, pretty hurt. So hide it, tuck it away, choke him out, and he'll go out quick enough. Cup your hand just like this and slap him right in the eardrum. Wow.